event is organized by few organizations, Asian Indigenous Peoples Pact, Kapaeeng Foundation, BARCIK, and also Bangladesh Indigenous. And we especially thank the Bangladesh Pavilion for this opportunity and all the participants for joining us. I would like to request our special guests and also all panel speakers to come at the stage and take your seat, please. If we share briefly the event objective, we know that this COP30 is ongoing in Belem, and we have a good participation from different countries, different communities, ethnicities, and others. So we can see that not only human being, but also nature itself is a victim of climate change. However, we have a responsibility to protect, restore, and sustainably manage our natural ecosystem. The objective of this side event is to learn from our distinguished guest speaker how nature can provide powerful solutions for mitigating and adapting to the impacts of climate change. Moreover, we will also explore the international commitments related to these nature-based solutions. So we'll explore many things here, and we have very diverse speakers also from different countries. I think we will enjoy this event. So without any delay, we can go to the direct speaker. We will hear from our distinguished speaker from Nepal, Mr. Tunga, Bhadra, Director of Nepal Federation of Indigenous Nationalities. So we want to know from Tunga, you can talk on this topic, and also how does nature reduce climate risk, and how we nature-based solution exist in international climate commitments. From your perspective, you can share your experience.
Thank you very much. So it's great to see everyone. And also I'm so honored to be one of the speakers to share my thoughts and experience from our country. First of all, I don't know where to get started, but I see a very beautiful picture in the pavilion of Bangladesh, and it reminds of me a lot of my childhood and the stories our people and our parents used to tell us. Because it's coming to the topic, nature-based solution or the human nature relationship. So what we were told is that we are a part of the nature, and we see every element and every sentient being in nature as our relatives. One of the example, I was studying to college just a minute ago. They were asking me what this is and what are you wearing. Is it a small fan because it's too hot? Actually not. This is an accessory, kind of accessory in the movies. We used to exchange amongst the relatives and friends when we complete our cultivation work and celebrate the completion of cultivation, and also remind yourself how important is nature and how important it is to cultivate for your life. So it's kind of a gift and also a reminder of our relationship with the nature. So you wear it as accessories, but it also reminds of you, your relationship with the land, with your planning, and with the nation. And we wish for a good harvest, good growth of our cultivation. So what that really reminds of is how we have to respect nature, how we have to be a part of the nature as a whole. So we see there are many different animals and birds in your wall. And in one of the occasions, we also celebrate a festival when we also imitate almost all of these animals and birds. We dance in a group and we imitate them in our steps. And also we imitate how we process cotton and how we make a jacket or a cloth. I could not bring it, I did not bring it here because it's too hot, it doesn't fit with the weather. So what I'm saying is, in this festival, again, we remind ourselves our relationship with those animals, with the winds, how the wind blows, and we try to imitate how the wind blows, how the clouds, fly up to the mountains, to the river. And also try to remind our young generation, try to transfer those concepts to the young generation to be grateful to the nature. So this is what is our value. So this is precisely to say that we are a family. But spaces like this, the UN forums, when a privacy, biodiversity, or desertification conventions, sometimes with the people who live in everyday different contexts feel like it's something that we never think of or we never live with. So sometimes I feel like is the climate support or climate finance is a new tool of neo-colonialization. For example, I can say that maybe the developed countries are committed to support developing countries, least developed countries, and different populations in the name of climate finance. But there is the definition of climate project. And sometimes they also pick up the type of landscape, rainforest, tropical forest, or high mountains, or agriculture sector. These are just examples. There are choices, but we cannot choose any ecosystem and ignore the other one. Because we don't live in isolation, as I say. Because we live in a family. Birds and animals and trees and plants and winds and clouds. We live in an ecosystem. We don't live in isolation. But why such support come in isolation? Okay, it's for the coastal. The support should go to the coastal areas. Why not in the mountains? Because the coastals and mountains are not different things. They are connected. We send a lot of floods from mountains to Bay of Bengal, and we live in a connection, right? And sometimes the supports and the so-called climate solutions comes for forestry sector. Why not for, energy or agriculture? So this kind of cherry picking or disconnecting our relationships is really dangerous. We lived through colonial period in the past, whether it's internal colonization or external. But we don't want new negotiations and agreement to be a new colonial tool. Okay. So this nature-based solutions should not be old wine with new coming in new bottle, new brand. Okay. So what we really need to raise awareness amongst our partners or our donors, our funders is you should not be disconnecting our relationship with animals, with trees, with mountains, with rivers, and so on. So I don't want to take much time, but these niche-based solutions, rent plus, or system-based adaptation, all of those are like brands. These are different brands. But these brands bring the same wine in new bottles with the new stamp. But we people who live in close connection with nature should really educate people, because sometimes it's not that they don't want to address those issues, but sometimes they really don't realize it. They really don't know it, because they don't live in that reality. They buy food in supermarkets, stores, but we directly bring it from forest or from the land, from the field. So I think it's not their fault sometimes. It's not intended sometimes. It's ignorance most of the cases. So we really need to raise that awareness. So be it nature-based solution or any climate action, let's educate those people and those actors from different part of the reality to reconnect and revitalize our relationship with nature. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, thank you, Tungaji, for your wonderful contribution and very, very important remarks on this issue. So, yes, you rightly said that nature is very important, but so nature-based solution, Red Plus, or many things are coming, to protect this. But these are like brand, Actually, we need to work closely with the people. We need to award the people. We need to work with the people of the nature and also nature. Thank you very much for your wonderful contributions. Now we can go to our speaker from BARCIK, Bangladesh Resource Center for Indigenous Knowledge. You know that Mr. Pavel Partha, who is a renowned researcher and writer in Bangladesh. So Pavelda, so this topic is nature at the center of the climate solution and international commitments. So please share your experience on this topic. What do you think?
Thanks to all guests, Farida Akhter, and also thanks to you, the delegates from the different parts of the world. So there is a very interesting connection with the Brazil and also the Bangladesh, because we are coming from the largest mangrove forest of the world countries, and also the Brazil, they are having the largest forest, the rainforest of the world. But it is very terrible that they are killing these largest forests of the world in the name of copper mining, in the name of gas mining, in the name of the gold mining, in the name of the gold mining, and also killing the ecosystem of this forest, and also the threatening the livelihood of the indigenous people. But the global leaders, they are committed to save the forest in the Glasgow. In the Glasgow conference, climate conference, they developed a treaty to save the world forest and also the trees. But they are cutting the trees, they are killing the forest still now. So why they are organizing party COPs? So it is a kind of question to all, and not only for us. And when we are talking on the climate finance, that then they have no any kind of emotions. So I am questioning to you, who are investing more for the world? Farmers, they are investing more for the world. The women, the indigenous people, they are investing more. Investing means not only by the money, they are investing through their seeds, their resources, their conservation strategies, their indigenous local knowledge, their labor, and also their tradition. So we need to think about this. Because of the farmers and the food producers, the indigenous people who are investing more, and you are killing their food and the ecosystem and the livelihood, why you are not responsible to pay this? Because the big polluters and historically who are the big emitters, they are bound to pay because it is the rules of the polluters pay. So when we are talking on the nature at the center of the solution, so it is kind of a very bad thing in the global negotiations. So, like the Bangladesh, only 111 countries, like the Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka, we submitted our NDCs. But the countries who are polluting the world, killing this world, like the America, like the China, like the India, they are not, they are still now, they are suffering. So, we need to think about this, and also it could be clearly addressed in the final negotiation. Why the big polluters, why the big emitters not submitted their NDCs? So why so it is meaning that the NDC is a kind of nothing thing. And also I'm very happy to share with you that this year the NDC 3.0, the Bangladesh first, included agroecology, non-economic loss and damage, and also the traditional knowledge in our national contributions report. And also the Nepal, Cambodia, Cameroon, they also included the agroecology. Yes, now time to make our operations and the implementations. And also in our NAP, the National Adaptation Plan, or also when we are finalizing the goals under the goals on the international goals, the GGA, the Global Goal on Adaptation. So you can see in the Global Goal on Adaptation, there are 11 targets. One target is the cultural heritage. When you killing our traditional seeds, it is our cultural heritage. When you killing our mountains, the rivers, the forests, those are our cultural heritage also. So we need to think what kind of jargon we put it in our the international text and also the international instrument. And not only the NDC, already all of we have submitted the NESAP document, the National Biodiversity Strategic Action Plan under the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD 1992. So, under the CBD, all countries who are the signatory of the CBD, we are bound to protect our nature. We are bound to develop our all kinds of activities where nature at the center point. But what kind of thing we see in this Belem conference of 85 days are gone. There is no any kind of proper and clear stand position in the international documents, the negotiation documents on women, on gender, on indigenous people, on farmers, on traditional knowledge, on locally led adaptation. So why we are getting and why we are talking this kind of things, the big polluters and the big emitters, they have no any kind of the responsibility. Only we are responsible to protect this earth. All of we who are living with our mother earth, so we need to strengthen our own responsibility, and also we are committed to protect our earth. And my last thing is we are coming from a country, the Bengali community and also the indigenous people are there. This COP, the Belem COP, I am giving thanks to the UNFCCC because they coined the main theme from the Tupi-Guarani indigenous people of the Amazon. They call it the global Guillao. Guillao means the collective efforts. So we have the collective efforts in our country also. in the Bengali community, the farmers, they have we call the Bhadra. So they work together in their rice field and they work together in their all kind of village development, and also in the Chakma community, they call it the Malaya. So it is the kind of tradition. We are having this. So we need to think about all of our global efforts, our collective efforts, our joint efforts. We are collected and we are giving our solidarity with the different kinds of the global efforts with the different parts of the world. But the last sentence for the global leaders, you need to decarbonize the climate narrative. You need to demilitarize the carbon narrative, because in the name of the oil extraction, in the name of the copper mining, you militarize our forest, you militarize our livelihood, you militarize our natural resources. So you should demilitarize the carbon, our climate narratives, decarbonize the climate narratives, and also decolonize the carbon narratives. So we are together, we want to march together, we have the solidarity, but you need to think about what you are doing in national across in the Belem also. So there is also the time, we have also the second week, and we are hoping that global leaders, they wake up from their nap and invested adaptation. There is the joke, this is the kind of the nap. So we need the proper state. The art needs the proper state, not the land. So global leaders, wake up from your nap. You also need the proper state, because you are committed. So why you are committed? So you need to do your responsibility, because you are responsible to protect this motherland. So thank you. Thanks for your
Thank you, Pavel, for your very powerful and informative speech. So which is very effective. So now from Nepal to Bangladesh, Bangladesh to Malaysia, we can go to Malaysia for the Malaysia speaker. Our friend speaker is here. Name is Miss Junia Anilik, who is working with Pakostas. Pakostas is an organization working for indigenous knowledge, customary law and practices. So we want to give the floor to Junia. From Junia, we want to hear that your Malaysia country perspective. Could you share any experience on or example of indigenous community initiative, such as like Tagal system or community-based micro hydro system, and what is the current status of this system to recognize by the Malaysian government? If you share the example and also the Malaysian government status of this. Thank you.
I hope you can hear me. I think we just heard a lot of energy just now from Mr. Pavel, and I think that's true. Indigenous people have been doing a lot of things even before nature-based solution is term is even coined. We have been doing all of this, right? So I just want to share about two things in Malaysia now that our own community governance and ways of community management of our resources that have been recognized by our state government in Sabah, Malaysia. So first is the canal system, which is very unique because it's actually a way of conserving integrity of the river and also the fisheries, which Madam Farida is also the Ministry of Fisheries. So in the Kadazan Muslim people, the people where I come from in Sabah, Malaysia, which is in the island of Borneo, we have a system called Pagal. Pagal means how we protect our river, whereby we give certain periods of time where we don't collect fish, and then we have fishing bans. So this is also based on our adat or customary law, and based on our traditional knowledge, when are we supposed to fish, which areas. So certain areas we put zoning in it, and the state government of Sabah has already recognized it and already put it in the fishery enactment. And that means the communities are able to determine when they fish, where the areas they fish, who are allowed to fish, and this is backed by the state laws, state law and policy. So this is a really good thing for in terms of recognition of indigenous people's knowledge and practices. The second thing that I want to also share about is this community micro hydro or mini grids. In Sabah, there's also a lot of unelectrified villages. And I'm sure also in Bangladesh, there's a lot of villages who are still unelectrified, or else already all electrified. Okay. Almost all. Yeah. In Malaysia, actually, in the statistic, they say Malaysia is 99% electrified. But the reality on the ground, when we map our state, it was over 400 villages that is unelectrified, and most of them are indigenous villages. So these villages are in the fringes. So this is how, and these villages, they will never, it's very hard for them to be connected to the grid because of the situation. They are really isolated, else in terms of terrain, they are far from the existing grid. So that's why we try to develop with the community on making micro-hydro or solar mini-grids, where this system, they are managed by the community themselves. And in terms of the governance, like for the micro-hydro, they also adapt the protocol to protect their watershed. Because if we want our micro-hydro to continue flowing, we need to protect our forests, we need to protect our watershed. So right now we are working with a consortium. So our organization, PAPOS, together with Tony Boom, Green Empowerment Forever Sabah and INAC, we have a consortium called the Sabah Renewable Energy for Rural Electrification Consortium, and we made a roadmap after that study where we mapped the whole state of Sabah unelectrified villages. And in 2023, actually, our government has already adopted that roadmap, and they adopted it to their Sabah 100% electrification for Sabah 2040. So it's already in the state policy. So we are also included in the steering committee for this. So this is how actually there's a public civic partnership that is really effective. That's how the government can also work with the community or the organizations working with the community on the ground. And this is how we really able to amplify our work, and we can really reach the people in need. So I think that's my sharing for today. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Back to you, Sahel.
Thank you, Dunia, for your very informative speech. Our next speaker is Ms. Guillao. She is from Indigenous People's Rights International, and she is Environment and Human Rights Coordinator. So we also expect from Ms. Joan, you also talk about the topic of the site where how does nature reduce climate risk, and how are nature-based solutions or human rights approach and indigenous people's rights are enshrined in international climate commitments from your perspective.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity also to contribute to this discussion. I think my contribution would be the reiteration of what has already been said by our previous speakers, and it's really good to learn from our initial speakers of how they are already doing protection, management, and further development of their various ecosystems in the context of their community. And this is really not a new thing for us. The word nature-based solution is not a new invention for us, especially for us indigenous peoples. And I would like to start by saying that as we come to this COP, we are not just talking about climate, right? At us right now. We are trying to cope, trying to adapt on how we are working together here at the negotiation, just to be able to also put our issues and concerns in the negotiating table, given this warm weather and other logistical challenges that we are facing. So I just would like to say as well that when we talk about climate change, we are talking about us peoples. We are the center of the discussion, and not just about the technical definition of things like climate change, like NBS or nature-based solutions. So, but I just want to step back a bit why NBS has come about. So in 2016, this has been popularized at the IUCN Congress, which is defined as actions to protect, sustainably manage, and restore natural or modified ecosystems that address societal challenges effectively and adaptively, simultaneously providing human well-being and biodiversity benefits. So it's very clear. There is already this relationship that we're talking about, as mentioned by my colleague Tunga, that for us Indigenous peoples, the way we take care of our nature or our environment starts with the relationship. And even just a small activity that we do, for example, like create the family, that accessory, it means a lot to us. And then we move on. We have our tagal system that actually helps us protect our fishing communities. So all these examples are showing us clearly what are already being done by our brothers and sisters in different communities, and also from our speaker from Bangladesh, trying to really remind us that the framework that we are following when we talk about all these initiatives that we're doing is the framework that focuses on the central role of peoples, of Indigenous peoples and local communities. Just to mention that, of course, we are doing it collectively. And to decarbonize, I like that, to decarbonize our climate solutions is actually to demilitarize. So all these issues and challenges that are giving barrier to our contributions as Indigenous peoples needs to be addressed, which brings me to the reiteration once again that when we say that we are doing all these nature-based solutions as Indigenous peoples, this means that we Indigenous peoples have already been exercising, implementing, using all these knowledges that has been generated from generation to generation. It has been transferred to us from generation to generation, and is still working for us. Unless this is going to be taken away because of extractive activities that would happen in our territories and resources, like as already mentioned, mining, deforestation, and other energy and other extraction that would actually impact on our territories. And including, I would like to add, even the use of energy that could actually, again, impact on our territories, like, for example, the use of large-scale, use of large-scale project like dams. So these are actually threatening also our resources and territories in the process. So what I think I wanted to say, last but not the least, is how can nature-based solutions be relevant to us? So I'd like to just say that to make nature-based solutions relevant and that it can maximize our potential, it should start by addressing the pre-existing issues and advocacies of Indigenous peoples in relation to recognition and promotion of our rights. I am working with Indigenous Peoples' Rights International, and we are actually trying to protect, promote, the rights of indigenous people's rights defenders. Because the moment that we are trying to actually protect our lands, our territories, we are being criminalized, our rights are being violated, we are being restricted to actually go to our forests, rivers, to take or practice our livelihood. So those are just bad examples on how violations are taking place in our own ecosystems. Thus, the recognition of our knowledge has to be recognized. The recognition of our knowledge has to be based on the scope and on the scope of our indigenous and traditional systems, as it has already been mentioned. And we would like to call on the attention of our governments, our technocrats, our development planners, because I know these are the people involved in these processes, even our legislative branch of government. The legal frame, they're the ones responsible for all this legal framework that would actually enable us to do our solutions. As we heard from our sisters from Malaysia, their system has been recognized by the government, and that is actually major recognition, and it actually strengthens their processes and their recognition as indigenous peoples. So again, I just would like to say that to start on how we would like to empower our communities and be active in this process of making the solutions to climate relevant to us, we should be given a strong voice in decision making at all levels. To be able to do that, we have to be informed fully and appropriately. Because often we do not have the proper information. We do not have access to information. And so, in the process, we should also be able to be allowed to provide data, to share relevant status of our situation, and that should also be recognized. And I would like to reiterate that coming from the country Philippines, which already have our legal framework recognizing our rights as indigenous peoples, we have our Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act. I would like to say that this has given us a lot of opportunities. Although it also has some challenges, but again, the basic framework that will allow us to do more is actually for us to be recognized as indigenous peoples, as someone who have individual and collective rights, and that we should be, I would like to say, allowed to engage in all processes by considering our free, prior, and informed consent at all levels. And I would like to end by saying that I want to quote that every drop counts, and so every drop of contribution. I would like to say that this quote reminds me that every contribution that we make as indigenous peoples, whether that is in small scale or large scale, it actually gives us that opportunity to be heard and to be able to really be an active partner for this whole process of contributing to climate action. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. John, for your very, very important and informative speech. Thank you. You have started to talk with firstly the criminalization and violations against indigenous peoples, and also how natural solution can work. So, and you know that in Philippines they have one law is directly related to indigenous peoples. It's called IPRI, Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act. These also recognitions and other things. Thank you for your speech. So, dear audience, now we go to our last speaker of this panel before our guest of honor. But I want to say you that please don't leave the audience before finishing our side event, because we have some snacks supported by our India friends. Please all can take the snack also. And I'm sorry to say that our speaker Tunga ji, he has an important meeting now. That's why we need to leave. But we would like to thank many thanks to our Tunga ji for your joining the meeting and also your speech and contribution. Thank you. Now our next speaker is Pallab Chakma, who is Executive Director of Kapaeeng Foundation, at the same time co-chair of International Land Coalitions and Executive Council member of Asia Indigenous Peoples Pact. He will speak on village common forest and also the overall topic of today's side event.
Hello. First of all, we express our sincere gratitude to Honorable Advisor for giving us the space to hold our side event here in Bangladesh Pavilion. I think this is the first time we are organizing such event in Bangladesh Pavilion. And that's why we are very thankful. And also our guest speakers from Malaysia, Philippines and Nepal, thank you for joining us today. And here we already discussed about the global level mechanism, national level mechanism, and how we can contribute together to preserve our nature. And now my presentation will be very focused on a case study based in about interest. And so, before going to the presentation, the Geneva of interest from where I belong, in the area of 1/10 of the total land area of Bangladesh, and here we live 13 indigenous communities, and it's a place of critical biodiversity on the spot, containing a vast majority of the country's forest cover. And the region is facing immense ecological pressure from climate change and development. And that's why we, indigenous people, we preserve the forest. Actually, we don't know how to sing, we don't know how to market, but we, by ourselves, we are protecting and preserving forest and nature by our own and the generations. So here, a proven nature-based solution, village common forests are not related because they are sophisticated, pre-existing models of climate action that protect, manage, and restore ecosystem. So before going to details, let me show you some more pictures that I covered last month when I was working with two village common forests in village Upazila, Rangamati district, and another one is under Rangamati, Sadar Upazila. So this is one of the photos with the deep in the forest where the in stream we still have water, and this is one of the big trees that we saw, and we actually the person with me is the professor of Rangamati University of Science and Technology in the Department of Forestry. We actually 4 people we are trying to capture the trees, how big to estimate. So there are lots of this type of big trees still in that the common forest. So this is the biodiversity. I never seen this type of colorful butterfly. This butterfly in the village common forest, and this is the stream. And this is another forest food. We call it surubek gulo, and it's very tasty. And I don't know whether other parts of the country have it or not, but when we were very little child, we used to go to the forest and have this type of foods. And this is wild and very tasty. So I was very excited after seeing this in the forest. And we are here some students around the University of Science and Technology and the Forestry Department. So why I'm showing this photo just to give you an idea how this type of rich forest and diverse the hottest spot of biodiversity is selected in the Bangladesh. Before going to the a detailed program, the PCA, Village Common Forest, is totally managed by indigenous peoples and their traditional leaders. So they themselves, in the village, they set up the protocols, and that's why they do not extract any resources, they do not collect any resources without the permission of the village head. So this is how they maintain this forest. And if needed, suppose there are poor household, if they need something to collect from the forest, there's a system of applying for collecting resources from the forest. And if the head of the village considers that he has valid reason to have collected those resources, then they are given permission. So this is how for the immediate person can access of resources if it is really needed for them. So that's why if we see what is the benefit of the village common forest, if we see the climate adaptation, there are forests, there are deep forests, different kinds of trees are there, and that's why still the water sources of the forest, the main streams are there. And around the year, there is no scarcity of water in those nearby adjacent villages. Now, in other cases, during the summer, many indigenous villages, they also face water shortage. But people who are preserving this type of village common forest, they don't face water shortage problem. And here I mentioned that you heard, this is a safety net of food for indigenous people. And I show you some fruits and some vegetables. And during the rainy season and during the monsoon, we have bamboo shoots. So these are the forest source of this kinds of vegetables and also fruits. But people always are not allowed. There is a certain period of time when they can harvest. That's why they can manage the sustainability of the forest. So we see about the village forests are high carbon stock, native forest, effective community protection prevents deforestation, keeping vast amounts of carbon locked safely in trees and soil rather than being released into the atmosphere. And biodiversity absolutely very encouraging them to find the biodiversity in the reserve forest. And I show you the butterflies and the different kinds of creatures, the crab and also the birds are there. And also hundreds type of bee species are also in the village common forest. So how does it work? Here there is a mixed method. There is a community protocol as I mentioned, and also there are customary law, and also people also they are the one who manage to preserve this village forest. But now we are facing different challenges of this village forest. The most pressing one is not having the legal recognition of the forest. So as the community are managing their own forest, but anytime the forest department wish to declare it protected forest, reserve forest, and we have already had the example, some cases, government, forest department already declared some of the village forest with the reserve forest or protected forest. So that's why number one, land technology security is linked with the first one, the legal recognition, and also extreme pressure, different development international going on. That's why it's also creating a problem, and also relation of traditional ecological knowledge. It is also a very challenging at this moment. So now what to do to recognize and secure the land use system of indigenous peoples. So as they are the protecting and forest, and if they have the land rights, so they can for generations without any risk, they can keep protecting the forest. And now there are some other things. Suppose people are not allowed to collect forest resources from the forest. So that's why the households of the villages, they need some kinds of
সব যাবে
so
এমন দেশ পাস হারাইলে
there are also some poor villages, poor households. So if they are not allowed to collect forest resources, they will face more challenges. So if we can arrange alternative income harvesting activities, that will be helpful for them. Another one is empowerment, supply community to community, learning networks, and the documentation of traditional ecological knowledge. And thank you for your patient hearing.
আপডেট আর প্রেস এখনো কোনগুলো এজেন্ডা বা এজেন্ডা ঠিক আছে প্রতিদিন কি হয় এখন সব ওরা কি করছে সেটা অন্যরা কি করছে
village common forest and also today's topic. I would like to thank everyone for the listening and before going to we are from our guest of honor. We can go for 3 minutes because our panelist is here from Chakma, Joan, Emia, and also Pavel. So making some their presentations and also speech. If you have any questions or comments, so you can ask. So our panelists they can respond. So before going to our guest of honor, if you have any questions or comments, if no, I think that's okay. We can go for the our guest of honor speech. So we thank our guest of honor of today's side event, Ms. Farida Akhter. She is Honorable Advisor, Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock of this interim government of Bangladesh. And we are very happy that because of his participation in the COP party from the Bangladesh government and also attending our this side event and very inclusive and hearing the discussion from our panelists from the different countries and organizations. So we can hear from Farida on the topic today overall and also what discussions already we heard from the speakers, and also you are responsible for the Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock in Bangladesh. So we know that we have some very rich resources like Sundarban, metro forest, we have like coastal regions, indigenous and local communities, and also who have good connection with the nature. No? So that's why could you share also how the government of Bangladesh is working to ensure this sustainable utilization of fisheries and livestock resources from your view you can share, and also you can also update the participation and engagement of the interim government of Bangladesh in this COP, and also if you have also any recommendation to the COP president, because we know that Bangladesh is one of the most vulnerable countries in the world for this climate change perspective. So open this book, Farida Akhter, firstly you can give the special remarks to our topic and also our speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm really pleased to be with you today, and when I was listening to you all, I was feeling that we talk about like indigenous people, but actually as if they're separate from us, as if they are just somebody who are outsiders. Then we must raise this question. I was thinking that actually we should ask what is nature, because the people who think that we are non-indigenous, they think that they are out of nature and that they have conquered nature, and people living in the forest and like the hill tracks very rightly say that they are with the nature, therefore they have to have a different lifestyle, and as if we don't have the others who are outside, we have no responsibility. This is something, and that is what is, we are also saying that among the relationship between the developed countries and us in the south, who I really don't want to call us victim countries, or not even vulnerable. I should say that we are made vulnerable and they are the perpetrators of what they have done to this whole world, and we are becoming, we have to become, I really like what Tunga said, the new colonialism, they are actually imposing on us through new words, new terms, and they are actually, what I should say, nature-based solution. It's actually hijacked. It is hijacked from the people who were talking about environment before.